to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome once more to the Monday edition of LIB Future TV in collaboration with Kia Radio 95.9. Good afternoon to you all out there on Radio Land and all of you out in social media, our Facebook, YouTube pages. I want to say welcome to you all. It's going to be a great interview. We have an exciting young man in the studio today, and we're going to give you a really, really good show. All right. But first off, as you know, we always start off with our dear sister Lavetta, and she's going to bring us up to date with the news and everything that's been happening in our 43,000 square miles. Lavetta, good evening, and you take it away.
Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening to all our listeners out there. Welcome to LIB Future TV News Updates. Police describes the 90.2 million cocaine seizure as a direct threat to national security, calls for independent, credible, and transparent investigation. Alternative National Congress political leader Alexander Cummings says the 19 million United States dollars drug bust reportedly seized at Roberts International Airport is not just a criminal matter, rather a direct threat to our national security. In a strong-worded Facebook post, Cummings said the narcotics test of integrity of Liberia's governance institutions and the very foundation of its socio-economic future. According to Cummings, drug trafficking has around the world destabilized nations, corrupted public institutions, fueled violence, destroyed communities, and crippled economic progress. He noted that Liberia must never be allowed to walk that dangerous path, adding that the Liberian people have endured too much suffering in history to permit criminal cartels and transitional drugs syndicates to infiltrate our public institutions. At home, drug trafficking endangers our youth, families, and communities. Abroad, it risks eroding investors' confidence and damaging Liberia's reputation among allies at a time when we desperately need trust, investment, and cooperation to grow our economy and create opportunities for our people, Cummings stated. The ANC political leader asserted that even more alarming than the seizure itself are allegations of possible collusion involving individuals within or close to the corridors of power, including elements of our security and investigative agency. He argued that while allegations are not evidence and every citizen is entitled to due process, the gravity of these claims demands full transparency, professional investigation, and corporate accountability. He maintained that the ANC is watching the investigation process with an equal eye, warning that any attempt by hidden kings, powerful interests, or political actors to obstruct or compromise the investigation will be treated as a direct assault on the rule of law, the progress of the country, and the Liberian people trust in government. Cummings therefore calls for establishment of an independent, credible, and transparent investigation involving national institutions supported by trusted international partners. The ANC wants a public disclosure of the fundings to the Liberian people, including the identities of all implicated individuals regardless of status, position, or political affiliation. The swift prosecution of anyone found culpable to face justice without fear, favor, political interference, selective application of the law. The ANC also wants urgent reinforced airport security, border surveillance, and anti-corruption safeguards across all law enforcement and security agencies, stressing that the future of Liberia is too precious to be compromised by criminal enterprise, corruption, or political protection. NPC political leader wants Waka Kun sanction over 19 million drugs bust. The opposition movement for progressive change (MPC) has criticized the government's handling of Liberia's recent 19 million United States dollars drug seizure, accusing the administration of delays and a lack of transparency nearly 2 weeks after the bust. The party questioned why no arrests have been made and demanded answers on how the drugs entered the country, who facilitated the shipment, and whether similar consignments had previously passed through Liberia. During a press conference in Monrovia, MPC political leader Senior Freeman accused the government of being unserious about the investigation and called on the international community to impose sanctions, including access freezes on President Joseph Waka, Vice President Jeremiah Kung, and other top officials if the probe is not concluded within 14 days. The party also raised concerns about the disclosure of a whistleblower's identity, called for the immediate destruction of the seized drugs in the lodge without providing evidence that an unbudgeted mansion in FOIA may be linked to drugs proceeds. The Waka administration has defended its approach, with the president pledging prosecution without fear or favor, and the Attorney General accusing that releasing suspect names prematurely could compromise the investigation. Meanwhile, civil society groups have urged regular updates from security and justice institutions as the probe continues. Sources at the Rabat International Transit Authority say one of the major challenges facing public transportation is the authority's decision to prioritize renting out buses instead of using them to transport ordinary passengers. According to a staff member of the agency whose name remains withheld to a newsman, that more than 75% of the buses are rented out, while ordinary Liberians are left stranded and forced to depend on taxi and commercial buses. We see people celebrating the arrival of the new buses, but most of them are being rented out either to government institutions or private groups. That is why ordinary Liberians hardly see these buses on the roads, the source said. The concern comes at a time when the National Transit Authority has expanded its fleet with 60 new vehicles, including 35 mass transit buses, 20 minibuses, and 5 cargo trucks. With the latest additions, we intended to improve public transportation across the country. However, the source claimed that the increase in the number of buses has not improved transportation for ordinary citizens because many of the buses are being used for rentals. One example, according to the source, was the recent Strengthening Families Conference organized by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where more than 15 of the newly imported buses were reportedly rented out for the event. Apart from that, many people have observed that frequent use of the MTA buses for funerals, conferences, workshops, and other events, while only a few buses remain available to transport commuters, especially in Monrovia. The source said the main purpose of public transportation is to serve the people and not to focus on generating income to renters. Public transportation is meant to serve the people If citizens cannot use the buses to travel because they are being rented out for money, then what is the purpose of having a public transport system? The source asks. The traffic management section of the Liberian National Police says at least 16 people have died and 33 others sustained injuries in 47 road traffic accidents recorded across Magidi County between January and May 2026. The report indicates that 75 vehicles were involved in the accident, with 12 sustaining major damage. Speaking during a road safety stakeholders engagement in Pakistan, Traffic Chief ACP Alfonso D. Benda disclosed that the Magidi, Montserrat, and Nima counties continue to record the highest number of road incidents in Liberia. ACP Benda attributed the growing number of crashes to speeding, reckless driving, overloading, and mechanical failures, particularly brake malfunctions. He noted that commercial vehicles, trucks, trailers, and motorcycles were among the most common vehicles involved in fatal accidents. He urged drivers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians to obey traffic regulations and prioritize safety as the Liberian National Police intensifies road safety awareness campaign across 3 counties. The chief of staff to former President George Weah, Eugene Nagwe, says a United Party government does not deserve even a 1% rating since coming to power. According to Nagwe, the government has miserably failed on all fronts, citing the lack of job creation, failure to combat drug abuse and corruption, and the worsening economic hardship facing Liberians as reasons the administration should receive a 0 rating. The former maritime boss also stated that all road projects currently being implemented by the Barker administration were financed through arrangements secured by the CDC-led government, so no need to grade the regime. Nangwe made the remarks during an appearance on Spoon TV on Sunday evening in Monrovia. The Ministry of Justice confirmed that Paul J. King, General Manager of GLS, and a previously declared person of interest in the June 8 cocaine seizure at Rabo International Airport, voluntarily returned to Liberia and presented himself to authorities. According to a Ministry of Justice statement issued on June 21, King is now in the custody of the Joint National Security Investigative Task Force and is assisting investigators in their ongoing probe into the seizure of approximately 237.6 kilograms of cocaine at the airport. Authorities say his cooperation is expected to help uncover the network of individuals and entities allegedly connected to the importation, concealment, transportation, and attempted exportation of the narcotics. The ministry emphasized that King's status as a person of interest does not amount to a finding of guilt, but assure the public that he will be afforded all legal protection guaranteed under Liberian law, including due process and access to legal counsel. Meanwhile, the government renewed its call for all remaining persons of interest in the case to surrender to investigators, warning that efforts to locate and apprehend outstanding suspects remain active both nationally and internationally. The ministry said it will continue to provide updates as the investigation progresses. And shame on Nyomli and others, Grand Basel University students blast lawmakers over delayed bridge projects. Several frustrated students of Grand Basel University in Buchanan have criticized the Grand Basel Legislative Caucus over the prolonged delay in constructing a bridge leading to the university campus. Speaking to reporters on Monday after flood water covered an alternative crossing path and prevented students and faculty from accessing the campus, the student expressed disappointment over the condition of the bridge. The frustrated students blamed the county's legislative caucus for not giving much attention to the project despite of their influential roles in the legislature. According to them, the project has remained unfinished for more than 10 years, despite reports that millions of dollars have been allocated for its construction. She on the Grand Bazaar caucus, we are suffering here and they do not care about us only themselves. She on all of them, an aggrieved student stated. According to the student, commuters and university users continue to rally on a weak wooded bridge while repeated calls for a permanent structure have gone unanswered. The student accused county lawmakers of failing to prioritize the project and alleged that corruption has contributed to the delay. They are calling on the national government, particularly the Ministry of Public Works, to intervene and ensure the construction of a durable bridge linking the campus to the main road. The students say completing the bridge will improve access to the university and boost transportation and economic activities in nearby communities. That was the latest news update. My name is Lavetta Davis.
Thank you so much, Lavetta. Thank you for that brilliant presentation. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. As you all know, LIB Future TV comes to you weekdays, Monday through Friday, and this is the kickoff show. This is our Monday edition, and we come to you with everything Liberia, okay? So share the show. If you're listening by radio, please post somebody closer, turn up the volume a little bit, and let's talk about our country in a patriotic and in a very change-focused way. So today we're going to have a very special guest as we gear up and get him ready. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been in the news. We're going to talk about what has been happening since the elections. We're going to talk about a lot concerning the youth. As you know, Liberia is a majority youthful population, and you cannot change Liberia without concentrating on the youth. You cannot change Liberia without targeting the youth. You cannot change Liberia until the youth in the country start to experience change. That is when true change comes to Liberia. So in order to do that, you have to not only target the youth, but you have to involve them in the change process. Knowing that fully well, we decided to bring one of our youth leaders on today to discuss everything Liberia. So he will be joining us here momentarily, and we will be discussing such things. So stay tuned as we get ready to go. So all right. So there we go. We are live. We have audio. We have visual. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the platform, Mr. Aliyu Kiedi. Sorry, the spelling is very close. Mr. Aliyu Kiedi, the youth chairman of the Alternative National Congress. He is joining us here today, and we're going to be talking Liberia. Welcome, Aliyu. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Mr. Parkmo, and thank you to the Care Communication Network for the space. And like we say, God money us. That only God carry oil in the country.
Yes. Unfortunately, we did not vote for God. You know, and God does not collect a paycheck
Oh yeah.
off of the citizens' dime every month. If God were collecting paycheck every month, we not have no problem. You know,
Oh yeah.
yes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
unfortunately, no. Our $1.2 billion is being controlled by individuals that were elected to do a certain purpose. And until they deem it necessary to do those things, we'll keep on their backs. That is their job. And that is ours. Ours is to hold them to the fire, hold their feet to the fire, and keep on their backs until our job is done. So welcome. Tell us a little bit. Want to know a little bit about Ali Kiedi. If you can give us a little bit about you. You know, where you grew up, where you went to school, and how did you get involved in politics, man?
Thank you, Mr. Pablo. That is a very interesting question. You know, we hardly receive some of these questions. Most often, when we appear on radio, it's strictly to politics, and we start to blast. But it's a good question. You know, I graduated from Tottenham High, one of the best of my high school. And before entering Tottenham High, you know, Tottenham High normally starts from 10th grade. So we're at the Agnes, right behind the Tottenham High building. We used to get Eagling there. So I started Eagling, and then we graduated from Eagling in 9th grade. We had to move to the big building, Tottenham High. So when you Tottenham High, you know, the category of people in our country, precisely that Tottenham High, people who cannot afford private tuition. So I was on the old room. And I can practically tell you all the shopper from Puru to Tottenham to actually we walk. Yes, we walk. And it used to be fun, it used to be interesting. And most of the time, you know, some of the Tottenham veterans, some people who used to feel sorry for us when walking along the middle, they would give us lift. You see us fighting getting people. But it was all very interesting time. We persevere. I was involved with the student Ujama movement in Tottenham. That is a student-based political party. Most often, it used to be very intense because University of Liberia students used to go on our campus and recruit people from the political parties on campus, SUP and the student Ujama movement. And what also added to that was the fact that certain building on the campus was being used by University of Liberia. We used to see some University of Liberia students attending classes on Tottenham High campus. So most often when we into our election agenda, election time, they would come and teach all these radical ideas. In Tottenham High used to be very radical. We used to protest for chairs when there are no chairs. We protest. When the roof is leaking over the building, we protest. Teachers are not paid. When teachers are protesting, they use the students. We will walk. And when the teacher of our students see us by that time, they will leave their place and their parents will be running on to our campus. They say, Tottenham High student and come outside again. So those are interesting times. And I left from Tottenham High when I graduated in 2013 school year. Went to University of Liberia. And then I was in University of Liberia when I took Stella Maris entrance. So I went to Stella Maris and did civil engineering. And we left Stella Maris. But at Stella Maris, at the time, there was a guy, the late Vani Jassy. He was the last president of the Student Representative Council on Stella Maris campus. And our party is the Student Reformist Movement on Stella Maris campus. So during our time, I became the first president for the Student Representative Council on Stella Maris campus after Sister Mary Lauren Brown shut down student politics. Because it became toxic the next day where students started to threaten to burn down the building because of the conditions that were on the campus back then. But after that huddle, we came and we said, look, there is a refined student movement. We think student representation is necessary because it prepares students for the leadership outside campus. So Sister was convinced, the late Daniel was convinced, and then we once again relaunched the student leadership on campus, and I became the first president of the SRC. And so that has been our history with student politics, university, and today we in the ANC, started as ordinary militant in the ANC. I serve as I served as mentor to people like Ben Myers, who became chairperson for the ANC Youth Congress, and with Jim Morris, who became chairperson, and I became Secretary General to Jim Morris, and today I'm chairman. So we have had our fair share of struggle history. We have our own star, and we can shoot. So that has been our life journey.
Awesome, man. That's great. That's great. You know, there's something about the path that you take, you know, and where it leads you. It says a lot about your character and how you view the world and the change you want to bring. So that's why I always feel it's very important for people to discuss, you know, on what leads them to where they are. You know, if you don't know where you're coming from, how can you know where you're going?
Exactly.
But you know, now that we're you know we're in it, let's talk a little bit of politics here, if that's okay with you. So as you know, the 2023 elections, you know, were done, and the Alternative National Congress did not do so well. What is your take on, you know, how that ended, and you know, and how that has informed how you, as youth chairman, direct the movement now going forward?
Yes, thank you. That is also a very interesting question. We have had a lot of self-reflection as ANC partisans and as leaders of the ANC, and those reflections gave us the opportunity to assess where we were wrong in the 2023 elections. And most of these things have been documented, and for us, it is now lesson learned going forward. We went into a dangerous collaboration, and we were victimized. We sincerely thought that this collaboration at the time, CPP, was going to work honestly as we all intended, and we put on paper. We say this a collaboration for the Liberian people, and whoever gets the ticket through the processes stipulated in the CPP framework document would have been the senator. But little did we know that there were people who were orchestrating other plans, and they were only using the ANC quote unquote moral credibility in the country, because there's a sense in the way the Unity Party has served, and they have had a lot of stigmas in terms of governance. They have portioned out a mortgage, a lot of concessions, so people still have those fresh reminders of the Unity Party. And so we were the same ethos of the Unity Party. And so they play along at the time where they feel comfortable that we can now conspire against these people who have well washed our sins. And so they play their politics well. To some extent, politically, you might not want to blame them because there's politics. The end justify the means, as many will say. You see it to be devilish, but in as much as it satisfies the goal of the Unity Party, for them is a victory. So for us, it is lesson learned. We now understand clearly how collaboration should look like even before entering into that collaboration. We are also guarded in the experiences we have had with collaboration. So any future collaboration we're into now, we are well informed. Like the people who say, when see a bite you see the result, you're wrong. Yep. So but however, we are not oblivious of the fact that there is no one party on its own that is capable of winning election. You need a coalition, you need an alliance of people to be able to win election. So we are aware of that fact. We are also aware that we need to form a collaboration and an alliance, but gather against our own experiences in the CPP.
Okay, sounds good, man. And that says a lot about, you know, where we're going to go moving forward. As you know, like you said, we just spoke about the Unity Party. They came out as the eventual winners of that contest, those elections, and they've been governing now, you know, for close to 4 years now. We're about to clock now, and we've seen a lot. So in terms of, let's just start with the youth, with employment, right? What's your view of of what you've seen in the last 3 years when it comes to this government in youth employment?
This government on the question of youth employment is a disaster. And don't take my word for it. Look at, for example, the MCC school card. You have employment opportunity at 9%. That is problematic. In this country, annually, you have more than 20,000 students graduating from university and vocational institutions. When they graduate, they fall right into the unemployment line. This government does not have the answer for unemployment in the country. And I'll tell you why. Mr. Kumis recently attended a CEO conference in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Any reasonable person would have thought that that is the place you want to see the Liberian government or representation of the Liberian government. That is the place you want to see our Bureau of Concession. These are places you want to see your government pitching ideas and presenting economic climate for the country, making the case of the country. You don't see them to these kinds of places. And you still think that this government, where Paul Kagame is providing a situation where more than 2,800 investors from Africa and across are assembling in a particular country, that is the place you want to see your government. But Mr. Kumis went there. He's just an opposition leader in Liberia. Imagine if Mr. Kumis is the president today in such a forum is respecting him at that level. You wouldn't need 10 of those investors over there to come here and Liberia unemployment crisis is over.
Yeah.
So this is what we've been telling our people, that this Coco and Missy leadership from one party of bad leadership to another party of bad leadership is only going to create a vicious cycle. That the real issue will be given the second place while the politics take premium in the country. And if young people will think that the Unity Party has what it takes to create jobs, because what is job creation? The first thing you want to have a favorable economic condition in the country, because look at the recent U.S. Economic climate report on Liberia. When investors want to come to your country, they first read these international reports.
Yeah.
And if it is not suggestive of the fact that your country is good for investment, they won't bring that investment to Liberia. Those who will insist on bringing the investment with you have to compromise with them so that they benefit in a way where under natural circumstances, those things will not happen. So you mortgage the country to foreign interests and donors. So unfortunately, we are where we are. But our people have it in them to correct this mistake come 2029. But this government, from all indication, this the 10 year when you read this said, there is nothing to point you to a direction that this government has it in them. The president recently called for a cabinet meeting. Every time they glamorize about the problem, they talk about unemployment. But can you point to a practical step that this government is taking to answer the question of unemployment in the country? If you listen to Mo Ali, he said the government is providing jobs. And one generally asked him, what kind of job the government providing? He said people who shine shoe and run the road, and people who selling coconut, they paint and route, the people who doing orange mini and loose money, making mockery out of the suffering of the people. Can Mo Ali children get employment in that category? If his son is riding motorbike or selling orange mini in the street, do you think you want that? That is not dignity. Our people are on survival mood. You think people who sell orange mini, they found pleasure in selling orange mini? But the people have to survive. The brothers have to survive. So those are the conditions in the country. Those are the reality. Unemployment issue, you're forget about a honorary regime. That's not their focus. Their focus is on taking people from the legislature. When you talk, they take it from there. When you question the government, they really won't be letter. They say, oh, this, that. So the real issue are not being addressed. The politics are taking the center stage in this government, and the people are more than a spectator in the economy.
Okay, I know you mentioned, you mentioned about graduates, and we saw quite recently that you put out thousands of students and they're preparing to put out several thousands more. School is closed now. There are other schools now are preparing for graduation. In my inbox, I've already seen the text from people asking for a graduation fee, so I know that's coming. But let's talk about education a little bit here, man. Let's talk about you. You went to a public school. You went to Tottenham High. Tottenham High has always been known, for academia and what they bring up, what they put out. At the same time, Tottenham High has also been known as, the example of where public schools are going, where government schools going. Looking at the educational system in the country right now, what are MCSS schools, what are schools up country, what are schools even in rural Monserrato? Government continues to talk about education being on their platform. But what have you seen among the youth when you talk to others in high school, in college, in LU? What have you seen when it comes to education?
Look, education from the perspective of Mr. Cummings and the ANC, we want to see certain standards. And how do we ensure that we want to see teachers are well paid? There was a scenario where a senator from Bonin County reported on the Senate floor that Bruce, there's a school in Bonin, very famous school, that does not have a mathematics teacher for senior class. There's no mathematics teacher. There are schools in Cape Town where you having a 9th-grade student serving as principal and teaching high school students. There's no standard. And because you don't have such a standard in the government school, the government has no legitimacy to question private institutions who are now also providing those standards. Because you will have it in your own school before you start to question other people or demand that these people are having in their schools. Thousands of teachers across the country are on the list of quote-unquote volunteer teachers. You don't pay them. Look at our schools. Students have to protest on the campuses of the University of Liberian, demanding that the building be printed, demanding that we renovate the school, demanding that chairs are needed. Does the curriculum of Liberia match current day reality? In other countries, people are integrating AI in university systems. What are we doing in Liberia? We still have a system designed for the 80s and the 90s. We are in the 21st century. There's no conversation around integrating our education system with the 21st century. We're still talking about chairs not in university, chairs not in classes. We're still talking about teacher's salary. We're still talking about leaking roof. Go in River G. I was in River G. I saw school, tears set in my eye. Children are sitting on the floor, walking miles to go to school. And our lawmakers are in big jeep. The president is flying private jet. So what is leadership? Leadership is about service to the nation. So you cannot even compare our education system with any of the countries in the region. Under the condition that we learned today, when I was in Stella Maris, we used to use we have something called the T-square and the 30, 60 triangle. We draw on the board on the table. At the time, I reached a certain level in Stella Maris before I started understanding certain software on my own. Where people are using software to draw, people are using software to do estimate, different software. So even though you will have some practical knowledge about how to do things manually, but that doesn't make you equipped to compete outside of the school or even internationally, because these people are exposed to different sort of technology. They are using different software. So our education system is still designed for the 90s and the 80s. But even at that, do we still have the conditions to deliver education at a level where we can say, yes, we are proud of. Those schools that are trying today to provide certain level of quality education, they are very expensive for the average Liberians. There are schools where people pay 6,000 USD for kids. There are schools where people pay 25,000 USD today. An average Liberian cannot afford that. How much you think civil servant making in the country? The people say the minimum wage is 150. And if you want your child to get quality education, can you afford the 6,000 USD school fee? Your whole salary per year can't reach 2,000 USD. Talking about let's say 3,000 USD. Talking about 6,000 school fees. So education there's still a big gap and need for improvement. So there's no one sector in Liberia you can beat your chest and say this sector is okay because of the governance in the country. We still have mess up system in the country. There's no system in Liberia. No system.
Wow, man. Okay. So before we go on, to our audience here, this is LIB Future TV Monday edition. You are listening to your humble host, Michael Padmore, and today I have with me Mr. Aliu Kiedi. He is the youth chairman of the Alternative National Congress. He has been talking to us from a perspective of the youth in the country, and he shared a lot with us. So we're here. Please, if you are on social media, please share the show. And if you are listening by radio, please turn up your volume a little bit and draw somebody closer as we continue here. So Aliu, if I may continue, one of the things that seems to be really holding down Liberia, especially when it comes to investments and stuff, is the economy. I stated before, I brought you on that any change that will come to Liberia will have to involve the youth. The youth make up a majority of the population. We talked about education. We talked about unemployment. If people are coming out of college armed with a degree and do not have the ability to be employed, what are the options when it comes to starting a business or doing something, to kind of share the economic burden of the country? What's happening out there when it comes to youth and business and starting a business and participating in the economy? What's happening? Tell us.
Jokingly, someone said to me, if you went to school in Liberia, yes, you are at liberty to study whatever. But upon your graduation, when you enter in the real world, Liberia will give you what Liberia has. That's necessarily what you go study in university. So I've seen BSc who are riding motorbikes. And I was shocked. I said, really? He said, yeah, they've been riding keke. But the man go study something serious at the university. So there's no potential for growth. This country is so small. Our natural resources can create an environment that every Liberian will be able to shine. But where we are today, we are surviving. That's why we say go money on. It's not easy. There's the average Liberian man on his own cannot pay rent, pay school fees, when he say take care of his medical bill on his own without asking people. So the country, the easiest job you can get in Liberia today is to be security man for $50 US every month. If you want to be security man, just join one private security firm. That's the easiest job. You get $50 per month. You stay in the cool every day when pneumonia catches you. If you get family who is that can support you, you're going to die in it, unfortunately. Or you go teach one school where they will pay you $5,000 every month. There are teachers in the country who may need $5,000 liberty, $6,000 liberty. Those are the easiest job you can get. You become security man, or you go and start teaching. Or if you can ride motorbike, You found somebody who able to buy you one bag for work and pay. Look at the avenues where Liberians, the sectors that are available for Liberians to shine. Those are not things that any reasonable person who will say, I want to go to school tomorrow to come and start riding back or to be private security to earn $150 or $50. A man who is earning $50 every month, what future do you think that man has with family, with children to take care of? So the country itself is a difficult place, and our leaders don't have empathy for us. So you go, you learn your thing. There are too many graduates in the country now. There's no job to absorb these people. Now, government will come and you know, people need to be creative. You say, how? How then do people need to be creative? Now, we have a loan policy in the country. I don't know how acceptable this is to government. If you want to school, you did business, and you come to develop a business proposal, you have these great ideas. To get grants from institutions, especially banks, it's kind of difficult because you have to present some kind of collateral. If there's no collateral, banks will not give you money. Even if you manage to get one of your uncle or your auntie or your pa to give you land or property as collateral, the condition for the loan is problematic. Banks will give you money today. The next month you're expecting to start paying, to start servicing the loan. How do you establish business in 1 month and start servicing the loan in the same month?
Wow.
If you're doing import and export business, maybe you're exporting things or importing things from China. Naturally, sometimes it will take more than a month for things to leave China, or a month for things to leave China and come to Liberia. So if you took money from the bank and you're using it for businesses in China, the moment the goods arrive or your goods might be on shape, and they start asking you to start servicing the loan. That condition already position people for failure. And you say, oh, Liberians can't pay money back. No. You allow the business to strike. Maybe the minimum or let's say the maximum 6 months. Give it to Liberia and say, if you take loan, we'll give you at least 6 months to establish your business so that you know how the business is running. But you can't get money immediately from the bank and the foreign money say you should start servicing the loan. You don't even understand whether the business has settled, whether you have started hiring people to come and assist you, whether you are getting your customers, whether people are paying. All of those conditions does not exist. So even taking loan is problematic. And the government needs to start creating a condition where maybe in the national budget you set aside cash through grants for businesses and entrepreneurs who are coming out with innovative ideas. The government is not thinking about that. What this government is thinking about instead, you saw them, they said they were writing money to build party headquarters across the country. You sold rescue agenda to the people bought the rescue agenda. Not to rescue your political party headquarters. That is not a national project. These people, the conditions they are in, they want you to come and provide solutions for their conditions. And you abandon those conditions and you start chasing instant gratification, building your party headquarters across the country. It's unfortunate, very sad, and those are the realities in the country today.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, you've given us a lot of insight here, but we usually hear that Liberia is a rich country. Liberia is a rich country. Liberia has gold. Liberia has diamond. Liberia has iron ore. Liberia has forestry. All these minerals at the disposal. What is happening, man? How can we think that Liberia is so rich and yet the youth in Liberia continue to struggle at the level at which they are struggling?
You know, there's nothing wrong with our soil. There's nothing wrong with the natural resources in Liberia. What we haven't gotten right is leadership. You know, I was in a conversation in Newtown, and I asked an elderly man who were talking about the rescue of Joseph Boakai government. I said, if you have a 2-year-old child in the house, can you leave that child with your 85 years old father to mind the child that you're going out in the morning to work? can you leave that child, 2-year-old child, an 85-year-old woman? You say no. Why would the child with the woman needs to be taken care of? So I can leave that child. Then I say, but then how then do we leave a whole country with an 85-year-old woman? Then he paused because he did not know the angle I would carry into. So he paused. The real issue here is no matter how good your intentions can be, people don't eat intention. People eat solutions. People eat practical realities. So if you don't have a hands-on presidency, there are people who can be very young, but if you don't follow details, the people will cook you. But talk less of having an old man who the country needs to take care of as senior citizen. You put your destiny in the hands of that old man. That is a gamble that you cannot afford to take. So we have all these concessions in the country. The president spoke about concession. He said Liberians are not benefiting from concessions. And mind you, this current president was vice president 12 years prior to the citizen regime. Yeah. He said they squander opportunity. So people thought, Liberians thought that since they may have admitted that they squander opportunity, if we gave him the opportunity now, he will try to walk back the squandering they did. Unfortunately, he's progressing in the same line. The vice president went to B Mountain. We need to uncover that B Mountain makes $1.62 billion annually. But why I'm not impressed with this vice president revelation is that the same vice president had been representative. He passed the B Mountain concession. He had been senator. He passed the B Mountain concession. So it did not come as shock to us because he's part of the problem. Now, while you are part of the problem, at least to start to convince us that you mean well. Found solution. It's not just enough to go to B Mountain and say, oh, the people making all this money and tell Liberia about the conditions they are living in. What solution is government providing? We have an archaic mining law on the books that for every $100 B Mountain makes, Liberia gets $30 USD. Is that a fair deal? That law has been on the books since former President Charles Taylor time. And it was on the book because of the condition that existed during the Warren Fashion time. Because companies were practically taking risks to come to Liberia under those sort of conditions. And so they managed to come because if you give money one Warren Fashion, then you can take over the mine. But after the war, you still maintain that archaic law. And today, President Waka is still proceeding in that regards. The same is true with Asidometa. Asidometa is taking all those natural resources. These are resources that cannot be replenished if you take them out. So you leave the scar on the country. These people are making billions of dollars and they give the country chicken change. What then do you expect the citizens to do? We all cannot be the decision maker of the country. That is why we contracted few Liberians to supplant governments. We say, come and be the president for all of us in the country, make decisions on our behalf. If you make bad decisions, and this precisely to the young people, if you consider the age of President Waka now, he might probably not be here in the next 20 years. Definitely. So whatever decision he takes today is going to affect my generation more than it's going to affect President Waka's generation. That is why we are vocal and talking on this issue. Because the bad decision they make today, the bad concession, is going to affect me. My generation is going to pay for it daily. So these concessions are being mortgaged out to foreign interests. And when you mortgage your natural resources, and they go out there and start begging institutions, and begging the World Bank, please give your money. IMF, please give your money. Our government official and our president should be ashamed. You have resources that can practically turn the country upside down overnight, develop this country. You mortgage it and you go and beg for 200 million. When IMF gave you 200 million, you excited under the conditions they are giving you those money. They are tailoring the condition, the policy, they say, we'll give you our money, but you're only spending on this side. You're only spending on the war. That is not how you develop. If you wonder, Paul Kagame made it a policy of government. That every institution comes here, they say you have your money. We don't want to tell you where you put the money. Because your solution that is tailor-made in Europe might not be practical in Liberia.
So we must have our own areas of interest. You can come here and say you get 200 million, you want to spend it in the sector. But we don't need that sector, we need this sector. So our government accept those money under the conditions provided by the World Bank and the IMF. And countries consistently are proving that if you consistently follow IMF and World Bank prescription, you are not going to develop because those conditions serve their purpose. But you have your own natural resources here that you can make use of. We get timber, we get gold, we get diamond, we get rubber, we get all these natural resources. When we are mortgaging them to foreign interests, our lawmakers are benefiting, the presidency is benefiting, while the people remain poor under these conditions. The same condition that the party people say, oh, these conditions are unacceptable under the CDC. They say the people are so poor, conditions are unacceptable, just crisis in the country. Today they are empowered to change those very conditions. Then you know what they say? The Liberian people are resilient set of people. The people can endure, but you are not enduring. We're seeing your life change overnight. We're seeing the structures you are putting down. You tell us to endure. When you say we should endure, we should see the very endurance in the leaders. But you can't be living big and you say the people must endure. No, we did not elect the president to make him millionaire. We elected the president to change the condition of the people. So if the condition of the people remain static and even get worse over time, and the president living condition has improved dramatically overnight, then you say the president is in the interest of the people.
Let's stay on concessions if we may. Quite recently, we saw the EU representative to Liberia. Certain statements were brought to the public. She didn't even make those statements public. Those were private conversations that she had with government officials, as well as during an investment meeting concerning Liberia. And those statements were made public by certain individuals, and we saw the government basically expel her from the country. Let's just say what it is, okay? If a government wants to expel you, the government will not just expel you. They will reach out to the host, to your host nation and ask them to recall you. And basically, that's what they did. The government of Liberia reached out to the EU and insisted that the EU recall her from being ambassador because of those statements. And what exactly did she say? So let's talk about it a little bit. What is your thought on, one, the recall, and what do you think she said that made the government so angry that they insisted upon this?
Yes, so this government has proven to be very intolerant, and they think that the fact that you are at the helm of power, nobody should question you, nobody should express opinion about things happening in the country. In the years when CDC was in power, there was an American ambassador here who was very vocal against the government, McCarthy. Yes. He was practically like an opposition leader in the country. That man will issue statement and say, when Joseph Jikinrao was alive, what will he say? He went around the country, he said he went to medical institutions. Those institutions were not receiving their budget lines, but there were allocations in the budget for it, and they did not receive it. Now, in the case of the Unity Party, our pastor for Nigeria is being complained by the government. EU ambassador who's supposed to be your partner in governance, they are raising concern. You should take it in good faith, or probably call the ambassador and say, look, I think the issue you are expressing opinion on, these are the clarification that the government is providing. Have conversation in the diplomatic corridor, call the ambassador to your office and have this conversation. But to elevate it to the public that the government is being defensive, every time you become defensive, it means you're hiding something. What are you hiding? Call your partners and say, look, or respond to your partner with the clarification. If you insist on putting it in the public, respond, use your Ministry of Mind and Power course, and respond to the information or the the assertion made by the ambassador. But to write the EU and say, because of these comments, we think you should recall your ambassador, that is scary. You know why that is scary? Because people like us, motorcyclists, market women, value boy and auction girls, if an EU ambassador can be complained to the EU and risk withdrawal, what about ordinary people in the country? They will not even complain, they will just bundle you and put you somewhere.
Yeah.
If Yeke Koruba can be removed from his position because of an opinion expressed, a lawmaker, do you think ordinary citizen is protected? If Senator Amara Kone can raise issue on the Senate floor, even though the law says that whatever a lawmaker says on the floor is protected by law. If that right and protection can come under attack by rescue government officials, demanding that the guy be investigated about his opinion expressed, even though he was arguing that our army should be equipped and receive support through budgetary allocation. And they said, oh, the mayor is exposing Liberian military secret. If he, as a senator, can be attacked, even though what he said is obvious and we support it, if that man can be attacked, ordinary citizens, you have no protection in the country on the question of freedom of speech. If a man of God who is not even a Liberian citizen can think about one prophecy over there in Nigeria, and government say, oh, Nigerian government, one of your men talking against all. How naive can a group of people be? That is an individual citizen in the country, a private citizen. His opinion does not reflect the position of the Nigerian government. Any reasonable person would have thought that the government will understand these simple things. It's just an ordinary man stay in Radical Market and make statement about Nigerian government. Tinubu, Nigeria will write Liberian government and say one man in Radical Market talking about. That is how petty the government has become, because you clamp down on freedom of expression in the country. So much so that people out of your country now, you're attacking them. The CSA boss, Josiah Jokar, wrote a communique to all civil servants across the government that they should sign a bond of confidentiality. That anything happen in government, don't talk about it. You sign it, people here. Anything happen here, don't talk about it like Liberian. That action squarely goes against the whistleblower act of the country, freedom of expression, and the Abdullah Kamara Act that talks about when things happen in government, people should blow whistle. But the man say no, nobody will talk about anything happening in government. You can sign people and waive your right to speak. So these things are happening. It's becoming systematic. There's a pattern that the government is clamping down freedom of expression. And Liberians should be very wary. Because even when people, opposition, other people express opinion about things in the country, the government uses the Ministry of Mind and Power Course to insult people in the country. They no longer focus on the substantive because the government does not have responses for the critical questions and debate we are raising in the opposition. So when you talk about the economy, they say the man stupid, the man not get sense. When you talk about they say the other man short, the other man hate B. These are now substantive conversation. And when people start to follow suit on what the government is doing, then they say, oh, the politics in the country is becoming toxic. But you use government platform to insult people. The ordinary citizen will not insult the government. When government minister who's supposed to set the standard, you set the standard, now people are following suit. So if the government, the president endorses people causing at the Ministry of Information, you think people in the school will not cause? You start the causing will end it for you. So you're not causing one will clap for you. So those are the conditions in the country today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And once again, you are listening to LIB Future TV. This is the Monday edition with your humble host, Michael Padmore. And I have with me in studio today, Mr. Aliyu Kiedi, who is the youth chairman of the Alternative National Congress. And he has been talking, giving us some clear views on what is happening in the country from the youth perspective. and just some of the things that they are experiencing. So before we go on, let's talk about the ANC for a little bit. There are some questions that have lingered, and you see it continues to linger on the lips of people. And so I want to ask you, a lot of people have been asking, continue to ask this question, even though I believe personally it has been answered. But some people continue to ask. So let me ask you. When people say, why will Alexander Cummings not choose to run for a legislative position, but only the presidency? What's the response to that?
Yes, that question, like you said, has been answered many times, but we'll endeavor to answer. In this country, many Liberians believe that lawmakers, the House of Representatives and the Senate, is the problem in the country. And so, by that, it means that lawmakers can change the country. In fact, they are part of the problem. Senators can change the country. So, anybody with a desire to change this country, a representative seat cannot change the country. If you become too vocal, they will expel you, they get called back. If they get to know that you have a presidential ambition, they're going to fire you and put all sort of things on you. That creates a hypothetical situation. Seeing Mr. Cummings as a representative, who would have probably been in maybe minority bloc or majority bloc. Maybe all of them are going to be in that fanatical thing. And maybe all of them are going to be in the capital building burning situation. Maybe all of them will be passing B Mountain concession, or he will abstain. Then the vote will stay halfway. So, only one seat in this country that can transform this country, and that seat is the presidency. Any other thing is a waste of time. Even the vice presidency is a waste of time. Yeah, the current president said he was a park guy in the garage, meaning excluding himself from everything that happened. He's not taking responsibility because you are not fully involved. His decisions only came as, okay, I hear you, but I will still do what I want to do. That's the essence. So the vice presidency job is a do nothing job. The only time you do something, if the president say do this one, if he doesn't, you don't have anything to do. Even the current vice president admitted, right? So nobody can change this country with the mindset Mr. Cummings has to transform this country, precisely the economy, and give our people job, give our people decent living. A representative can do it. You propose that thing on the floor. Imagine Mr. Cummings is a representative for District 9 or District 10. And the region speaker say, oh, that man at ANC man, who listening to him. It becomes practically impossible to have your way, because they know you're doing these things to campaign on them for election. So they're practically going to file you. So it's easy. Anybody can get rep. Look at Amara Corner with all the good intention. He went way to the Senate. They're still fighting him when he talks this. So Mr. Cummings, all of them are going to be in this category, right? So it's practically impossible, considering the people at that level, and power is distributed across the lawmakers. No one person with absolute power. You have to get people to agree with you. If they don't agree with you, you have your say. But the majority will always have their way. And in most cases, the majority way have not helped the country. So the lawmakers are part of the problem. No single lawmaker can help the country. That is why the presidency is so keen. Only the president wanted the speaker to be removed. They remove him. Yes. The president wanted budget to pass. They pass it. The president wanted Asido Meta D to go. The D went through. That now when the men were passing the D, LDC left. The men put their phone there on to pass that D. So whatever the presidency wants, the presidency get. The president appointed one man to at the NEC who served as Unity Party surrogate during the last election. Jonathan Widow. He passed. So whatever the president wants, the president gets. So any president who is sincere about developing this country and has a clear vision will succeed, because you always get what you want. So the presidency is key. Anybody who wants Mr. Cummings to really be impactful in the country, only one job can make you do that. And that is not arrogance. That is how you make impact. That is not arrogance. So some people say, oh, the main one, the other job. No, the main just one job for job sake. That's a job you just get it for job sake, but it doesn't provide you the opportunity to make impact.
Yeah.
So you just not want to be part if that representative. I was saying Mr. Cummings that representative. I was saying one district and spend money will go campaign for him because representative. I was saying take one country will go spend money there because senator. That would not change the country. So it's not a difficult thing for him to become representative. Even the current position that they don't hold today. When the opportunity came, people wanted Mr. Cummings to be senator. He said, look, the real goal is the presidency because a senator cannot change the country. The senator will only be a voice in the Senate. Out of 30, you just won. So the only job that can change the country is the presidency.
Well said, well said, well said. And I hope people have heard this. I hope that question now has been answered finally. And that we can move on to why it is what it is. But as we're talking about elections, you made a statement here. You said that no one party can win elections.
Yes.
And we have seen that in so many election cycles. With that being said, you also talk about the debacle of the last elections when it came to the CPP and the dirty tricks of the United Party. Now we have started hearing talks about more collaboration. And one of the things that have really been in the news and kind of been talked about a lot is some form of collaboration between the ANC and the CDC. And I talked to my Unity Party folks. They have many sleepless nights over that. For them, that's a nightmare. ANC, CDC, that's a nightmare for them. I want you to speak on that for people who are talking about those things. I want for you to speak a little bit about what are your thoughts on such, as well as yesterday evening. I don't know if you were speaking for the party because he's not technically an official of the party. He is, I believe, he is the chief of staff of the former president, Eugene Nangme. And he made a statement, and that statement has been pushed out by the Unity Party today. You can see all the surrogates running with that statement concerning why George Weah does not speak. He gave a certain answer. So first, I want for you to address this idea of CDC, ANC, and then speak on that. What was said yesterday by Len Eugene Nangwe, former maritime boss and now chief of staff to the former president George Weah.
Yes, so you're right. No one political party is capable of winning election on its own. You have to get into a collaboration or an alliance. And so that we are aware of. We are not oblivious of that fact. However, like we said, any collaboration with the ANC involved is going to be guarded against the experiences we got from the CPP. Now, CDC is in opposition, so is a stakeholder for collaboration as well. There are other political parties in opposition, the CMC, the MPC, the LANU, Clarence Monuba. They are different opposition political parties. So CDC is one of the stakeholders in the opposition community. Now, but there's one thing we ought to clarify, and it's important that our CDC counterpart understand this very well, that as popular as CDC is, on her own, she's not going to win the Unity Party. And this is something that the CDC people must understand. Listen to keenly. President Weah being President Weah, as popular as George Weah is, he cannot win the Unity Party in 2029 as George Weah. That's one. Two, the Unity Party is very determined to ensure that former President Weah does not return to the presidency. And the way they are doing it is that they are going after the magnets, those movers and shakers, the power brokers around President Weah. You've seen the aggression with the Samuel Tuer case. You've seen they went after his wife on the Cloud Weah Foundation. They're going after McGay. They are going after all these powerful people around President Weah, so to ensure that they break the whole structure of the CDC down to make it less viable in 2029. That's the next thing the CDC needs to understand. Additionally, what the CDC needs to appreciate is that, look, because one party cannot win an election, the CDC does not have an incentive for other political parties to rally them comes 2029, because the CDC history with other political parties who got in a coalition with them was not favorable. They did not live up to the agreement, according to the late Senator Prinwa J. They did not live up to agreement with certain actors and individuals within the NPP. They did not live up to the agreement with Eddie Styler. Because of those history of not living up to agreement with certain actors, there's no incentive on the side of the CDC to convince people that come this time around, we're going to live up to our commitment with you. So that is a manus from the CDC angle. Now, there are a group of Liberians. Normally, the real party fanatics will carry you certain level in the election, but they cannot guarantee your result. Those of the people who put the icing on the cake are people who are not partisan, in a way of speaking. Those people who say, okay, we're not United Party, but we're not ANC, but we can vote. Those are the people that the CDC needs to convince. And CDC does not have incentive in convincing these people, because, mind you, they have seen President Weah in leadership. Most of them are asking the question, even if President Baka failed today, what job we are coming back to do? They are seeing him in leadership. They are seeing him in action. So he does not have an incentive of them to say, okay, we are coming back now. What are you coming to do? They have seen the CDC leadership. So with all these things around the CDC that they need to consider, they must reduce the ego that say the CDC get a number. Yes, you have the number, but on your own, you can't win. And because you have a governance record, many Liberians will say, okay, if a United Party fail, we'll try another party, but we can bring the CDC back. So your best option is Mr. Cummings. Why is Mr. Cummings? Because the United Party people themselves know that with Mr. Cummings, they cannot play the politics they are playing with the CDC. They took your party headquarters from you. They're running after Samuel Tuer. They're running after McGay. They're running after Cloud Weah. Mr. Cummings is going to be that buffer zone that when they see him, they get scared. Because in the yesteryears, those who conspire against him felt the consequences both nationally and internationally. So with Cummings being the shield of the CDC, CDC can leverage that and come back to power, but not with the face of George Weah. Because for George Weah, people have seen him in leadership. People have seen him govern. So there's no incentive whatsoever with the CDC. You have your natural base. Sedition will not find it difficult. Sedition can support any other person except the United Party. So they will not find it difficult in supporting the ANC and Mr. Cummings. But with George Weah being the head of any opposition ticket in 2029, that ticket will fail. Because for all the other reasons I mentioned, they don't have incentive in rallying other opposition parties. Nobody trusts the CDC negotiation because they mess up agreement with other people in the past. They have that record. And today, Liberians who are saying if Bwaka fails, George Weah is not the answer. You can replace one group of people who you think failed in the yesteryear because Liberian took it from power because they weren't satisfied with the results he delivered. So they can go back to you. They prefer to find an alternative. And that alternative, Mr. Cummings, if the CDC fail to support Mr. Cummings in 2029, they will ultimately lose the election. If they lose that election, it means the CDC will be disbanded because they will no longer have Weah to come back. So it is in the best interest of the CDC. Put aside that thing about we get a number. Yes, you get a number. But the legitimacy and the credibility in the eyes of other Liberians, you do not have it. Mr. Cummings is your shield to come back to power. It's your only way. You say, okay, yes, Cummings didn't get a number, but he has the president, he has the credibility, he has the face internationally that people can say, okay, the other CDC, that different CDC will see Cummings if or A. or the other opposition are different opposition. We're seeing Kumisi from we're not seeing former President Weah. A President Weah could be a power broker. It could be a key influence in the decision-making comes to now. But on the CDC, they come by and they say they bring President Weah. Yes, they might be very formidable in the election, but it is not enough to guarantee victory. The best option of the CDC and the opposition is to rally around Mr. Cummings comes 2029. But you come with that thing that we get a number, yeah, you get a number, but you will not win. You will not be able to win. Because Liberians who have seen you in leadership, they don't believe you have the solution, even if the other people in power today fail.
Okay, yes, we get a number, but the number can win. Then you get a number. But yeah, we have it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As we prepare to go to the phone lines, please, Tuzon, I know you are you're in studio there. As we prepare to go to the phone, we'll be going to the phone lines here on the half-hour mark, which will be in the next 5 minutes. So if you are listening and you want to pitch in and ask your questions or state your concerns and comments, please get ready to go, and we'll be opening the lines here in the next 5 minutes, so that you can be a part of the show. You are the reason why we're here. Before we get to that, Aliu, the Guinea soldier then stay in for ya.
Yeah.
Well, we have heard nothing from our government. What's going on, man? What is happening? What is happening? How? I mean, first we heard about the mansion being built in Foya that the president claimed he knew nothing about until it was almost completed. And now we hear about the Guinean soldiers. Not only are they in Foya, but they remain there, and nothing is happening. What's going on?
Yeah. So, thank God you mentioned the mansion in Foya. The project in Foya is a crime scene. A crime was committed in Foya. Concrete fell from up on the land, and nobody has explanation for it. That burn people money was misused and unaccounted for in our jungle. The next thing is that President Bouaka has failed in terms of leadership. You know, I always tell people, leadership is not tested in times of convenience. It is tested in times of chaos. It is tested in times of controversy and contradictions. We have a crisis in the country. That is when leadership is tested. People left from Guinea and come and take Liberian land. That wasn't the case before. There's a problem. The government failed to go to the root cause of the issue. They failed to be transparent with the updates coming from Foya. They failed to give the people credible information around the whole circumstances. And today, it is as if the government has surrendered that part of Liberia to the Guineans. They say, take it. But up to current, there's no clear-cut message around that situation on the part of the government. That, look, our president went to Guinea. We told the man saying he's taking the land for him. And we as government will say, no contention will get the land to the man. Explain to the people the situation. Because Liberians were displaced from that part of the country. There were people who were giving testimonies, explaining their ordeals, that they spent 25,000 for the property they acquire, and the Guineans are now the one in possession of those places. Mm-hmm. What is the government doing? You have Guineans soldiers on your land. The government should come out clear and say, look, we're not able the people here, or we find out that the land actually belongs to the Guineans, or we enter into a bargain with the Guineans that because of the mining activities we have ongoing, which was not authorized or was not with the consent of the Guineans, so as a way of compensating the Guineans for the resources we took, we turn over the land to them. Explain to us, bring this situation to bear. But they are hoping that Liberians will forget this thing one morning. You know, the perception of the government that Liberians can only talk about things for 2 weeks maximum. After 2 weeks, everybody will forget. So for them, that is the case. That is not the case. We are not going to forget. Every time we have the opportunity to speak to our people through this medium, will remind our people that the government has failed to protect the sovereignty of the country. One of the oath the president took is to protect the boundaries of our country,
Yes.
the national sovereignty of the state. If the president fails, he has flouted his oath of office and warrants impeachment. It warrants impeachment. These are how conversations we should be having. How do we have a president? Why do we have a president? And a foreign nation is taking our land, and there's no clear explanation for the president. Explain to us, tell us, be honest with us. Tell us the truth. That look, we ain't what our Guinea. The men are too sophisticated for us. Or we want the men that I want to give us some sort of explanation to bring this issue to bear. But if you're hoping that we'll forget over there, maybe you do something like juju, everybody in the country forget. And nobody asks questions. That is not going to happen. We'll consistently ask the president, Mr. President, you are the president of the state, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Republic of Liberia, you are the chief administrator of the country. When things are going wrong, you must step down and provide leadership. Give the people answer. Liberians in that part of the country are terrified with the presence of Guinean soldiers with arms. And here we are. The government wanted to take Liberians from the 72nd Boulevard. They went there with the army, took surveillance, and harmless people. Your friends saw your men enter your country. The same vigor and force you use on ordinary Liberians, you scare. You see army men, you scare, you can't go there. Then you say, President, now only us, imagine if they were telling the army men, say, the men protesting there, you're going to them from the street, you see how they'll be kicking and beating up. Your friend army men can't, you're not able to go around there. Gago Koma went there, standing far or they showing the Guinean men, and he say, oh, like the men down there, you get your car and go back. You can go around there. Pick them off, but see how they can beat protesters in the country. Tracking protesters the other day at the CDC headquarters, they naked a lady showing all her breasts outside. Guineans there, you know how to do that one. But they say go for opposition leaders. They can put in all their gear and go there. They have disappointed us. They have failed to provide leadership in the state. In that part of the place, maybe future government will come and find ways to get the country land back. But from all indication, the president has proven unable to resolve that crisis at the Foya Guinea border.
Wow. And, you know, I'm sitting here as you are speaking, Ali, and I'm thinking to myself, constitutionally, the president does not even have the power to give our land away.
Yes.
He is only a custodian of the land. He doesn't have, I don't believe the president has the constitutional power to give away Liberian land to another country. I don't believe he does.
Yeah.
So his constitutional obligation is to protect that land. And if he has chosen not to, then he is very much in dereliction of his duties, you know?
Yes, he doesn't know how to. Like I said, intention does not run a country. You must be intentional about the things you want to do. The president doesn't know how to. Imagine a situation where Madam Sally was the president today. Do you think the Guineans will be on our land?
Hell no.
We know Madam Sally. You could say anything about her, but you can't take away her contact and how grounded she is internationally.
Yeah.
Few calls through the corridors of power, and that man will be checkmated.
Yeah.
But who Joseph Boga know beyond Foya? He doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know anybody. This man practically needed Senator Amakone to be introducing people to him in the state. Look, the position the former vice president said, Joseph Boaka, 12 years vice president. Just made me vice president for 1 month. I will know people across borders. I will know people across borders. When I was in the debate society, we went to Togo to debate the Pan-African University Debate Championship. I know people in Lomé. I know people in Abidjan. I know people in Nigeria. People who matters in youth and student politics. If I went to Nigeria, I will call my Nigerian counterparts and it will make things happen. Things I don't have to pay money for. That is networking. But the man is conceited. He's withdrawn. Look at the man when he left power. When former President said he left power, she established her foundation to cater to women and girls leadership. Joel Howard Taylor established Girls Foundation. Mr. Cummings established the Cummings Africa Foundation, even when we were not thinking about politics. When President Bouaka left power, Vice President Bouaka left power, he withdrew himself and he sat down to rehab and you were waiting for ego to learn. No impact. No impact. You are calling people, man, you promise the team, you bought it. You know the public get parable for eating money. You say, you bought my ear, you put the ear in there.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of parable there. So you've seen this old man. You can't point to anything as a legacy for this old man outside of government job. All the 42 years the boss himself show a legacy that he has built, a brain he has built for himself. He said, this is the impact this man left behind after 42 years of government. You can't point to anything. Then there's the man we have entrusted. Look, we're in the boat now. We just have to find means to save ourselves and wait for 2029.
We're in the boat now. We just have to find means to save ourselves till 2029. You are listening to Liberia Future TV in collaboration with Kia Radio FM 95.9. And this is your humble host, Michael Padmore. And today I have with me as my honorable guest, Mr. Aliyu Kiedi, the youth chairman of the Alternative National Congress you've been listening to. Now, if we can, Mr. Producer, if we can go to the telephone lines, if you can announce for us the numbers, if we can go to the phone lines, and let's hear for some of our listeners out there on any questions they might have for Mr. Kiedi or any comments or concerns.
All right. Let me say thanks to our panelists for today's edition of the LIB Future TV. Number to call if you want to be part of the platform tonight, this lovely, cool Monday night. 0777 959 959, 0777 959 959, or Bella still 0881 871 670 are the numbers to call and then talk to our panelists for today's edition of the program, the LIB Future TV. 0777 959 959, or better still 0881 871 670 are the numbers to call tonight. Okay, we go to line 1 and talk to this person. Good evening and welcome.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Your name calling from where? You sounding low.
I'm George Mandel. I'm calling from 17th Street.
All right, George, go ahead.
Yes, I just have a little comment to make to the studio guest.
Okay.
You know, Mr. Kumi is a renowned Liberian, and we don't think he's a bad person. But what I see is that those are hearing Mr. Kumi have to look for a different strategy. There are people you should partner with. There are people you need to work with, no matter, how. And this, you have to really take time with them. The CDC did not have problem with the ANC initially until we started seeing people going on the radio and bombarding and doing a lot of things again. You used to hear CDC literally saying that if Joria go for this thing, the next person will try that the papier come until we started receiving bombardment from all angles and things being said on the radio, and you notice that the CDC will not take. The CDC still started reacting. CDC supporters started reacting. Of recent, I think this is the third time I'm listening to ANC supporters and the way they present the issue, the tune they are using. I think they need to come down too much. If they, Mr. Kumi must be sold to the public or to any other political party. Oh. You cannot say you want a lady in the community that you want to marry to, and you say, "Oh, I want to marry a girl, but the girl is very ugly." But I think when she comes to me, I can shine her and she will know better. That's an insult to that woman, and if that woman knows better, I think she will have to. She will want to be with you. Even the ground you walk on, she will never want to see it. So I'm advising that they calm down. And still coming in the way that it can be. Because, like we said, the political party must collaborate. Okay. Even the CDC also need collaboration. Oh. For getting to the CDC, yes, anybody could think that way to say, "Oh, yes, I have the strength." It's an open secret.
Okay,
I mean,
thank you.
the CDC has the strength. But the way you can engage the CDC is not in this kind of form and manner. So to our, young brother there, you have to lower your speed, and whoever that will get on the air to speak on behalf of the ANC and Mr. Comey has to really, strategize. There are political parties you engage in, you must know how to get to them. There are ways to get to the CDC. There are ways to get to the CNC and all other political parties.
All right, thank you very much. Let's make way to another person. Let's welcome Mohamed Donzo. Mohamed Donzo, welcome to the platform.
Yes, good evening, DJ Tizo, and good evening to every one of you, the panelists and all of your guests. Well, my name is Mohamed Donzo Fofana Jr., a member of Concerned Liberian for Justice. Well, I really, enjoy the studio guests, the level here. Just, talking about CDC. How these two political parties, how will you say that to the public? Will the CDC feel the government, the Liberian people? No, I would say that no. The CDC did a massive development in this country. So first of all, I can say the CDC has gone 4 years in government because coronavirus is 2 years in our administration. The entire world was stopped. And then your student gets saying that, this cannot win election 2021 with ANC. Are you killing me, brother? Yeah? They wouldn't win it. Let me see. They wouldn't win Mr. Comey to be president of this country. Let me say this. On the involved with the CC, 2029 and 2036, you can elect a president of this country.
Thank you, Mohamed. Thank you, Mohamed.
The previous caller, what the previous caller said, everyone buys something, you can't just saying what of you on the radio, and it is true what the previous caller said. The ANC people always coming, they want to engage. You see, we're gonna say you can't engage, or we're not allow you.
All right. Okay, thank you.
We're not allow you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all you there. So the next person. Good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you?
We are good. Thanks for asking. Your name calling for where?
I'm calling for Carrollton. My name is Francis Lema.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah, I want to congratulate the guy that in the studio.
Okay.
He very explained very well about everything that happened in our country. But one thing I just want to point out that everything he said there is true. This government is very, very, very bad. Most of the things they are doing right now is not good. Making the youth to be, unemployed. Most of the youth, some of them have trade, graduates, go to school and do all type of things to make sure that their life is better. When they go and get employment, other stakeholders, they use the Unity Party strength to what? To demote them. You understand? So all our brothers are saying this particular government is now doing business for promoting the youth. I think Mr. Eddie Johnson telling them, I think it was okay. So we are saying it was okay. But this government has not progressing on the youth very seriously. So we are calling to the president of this country is that the drugs that you see spoiling our country right now. We have to really be careful because we don't want our children and our family to be battled with drugs in this country. So
Right.
thank you.
Thank you for the 1 minute. Let's welcome Mambedu. Mambedu, welcome.
Good evening.
Your feedback is bad, Mambedu. Your feedback.
Yeah, Koyo. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, hello. Good.
No, your feedback is bad. Let's go to the Lone Star line and talk to this person. Good evening. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And let me say good evening also to the panelists for the brilliant collaborations on national issues.
Okay.
For the recognition for the public. And poker.
Poker.
Yeah. Thank you, my dear brother. And I don't got the evening for an unknown destinations. You see, they finally dragged it or said it all, and they stated it well. But what happened here is, you see, Mr. Kumi, I always say this, man of me supporting George Weah, which of course, I support George Weah for a cause, and I know that particular cause have been manifested, they have been effectuated. But for Mr. Kumi, I will not, apart from George Weah, I will not get no regret of supporting Mr. Kumi. I tell you that Mr. Kumi has a better and prettiest. One of the prettiest minds in the Republic of Liberia is Mr. Kumi. When you talk about somebody that can stabilize, that knows much about the economic setting, that Mr. Kumi. But what happened here is, what we want for the Kumi and the weirdest to be on a one umbrella or to be in one circumference. What does that mean? Today we have to go. You know, I expect we have to go. Then you expect me to look at my vote. Very important, and put it on a being that have been in government for 42 years with no tangibility. You want to tell me the tangibility? We make the community records. We have records. Those people they have serious, or how to call it, or they have serious effort towards the country when it comes to uplifting or the country in any positive direction. Mr. Kumi and John, we had it. But what Mr. Boaga had it? Mr. Boaga had none. At the other panelists there, they probably know how to pray. He know how to beg. He knows much about how to take the ego land. The ego do the wrong. That's all he knows.
Okay.
For 1847, he's being government. What tangibility they making sure?
All right, Puka, we have 1 minute.
Yeah, so let me conclude.
Okay.
So I don't want for, I don't want for we and the community, the reality and the community to be on a one umbrella. So tomorrow, Mr. Kumi is the only figure program local. And then not a worker that have failed the people massively here. Now a worker you can do worker. Mr. Kumi is the only program local. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we talk to Mambenu. Mambenu, welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening and welcome.
Yeah. Point for Bola Bene, you're talking Bola Bene. Let the Liberian police sit now and forget about it. Lani and listen to Spoon, our minister, was there. They were talking up, continue about the Bola one. Any comment can we can't talk about the Bola Bene. But I don't have the number. I was coming to call and mean to hear clear. We are not have no responsibility in a moment to tell about. Even said Alexander Kumi, you can't talk about Bola. You know how many president part in Liberia, Kinipona can tell Bola and tell the only regime for the game 3.1 million with small draw in and the cash a full man. What they go today? When nothing happened that day, I say that Papa said Ebola. People say that laugh. That was tell. They will say, oh, the Papa said Ebola. She say like nephew be the man. Because like I know like my sister son there, like nephew, everybody like nephew. So now we say now, you will talk about politics. You said you want to draw like kind like that. We will talk, but I will not even say doing nothing for all because it honor a fit. I'm coming listen to Spoon to there. Somebody tell Spoon what I say you will put all the people in also Spoon say today that great information coming to them. So everybody must go on Spoon to them and listen to it. They will score the people in what being they particular not the person drugs in Liberia.
All right.
I said in India, my brother like that. 2017, a son, a 21-year-old boss, the boy not doing nothing besides drug. When you go appoint to school, no way. 2 times, no way. You left from there. He pushing with another when you go. He taking the job. People say he buying it every day $500 for the tablet. So he got the 5 tablet. Can that calculate a 5 tablet? That 2,500 the boy can spend every day to tell that job when he take a kind of day that cry in my heart. But I said being a job or don't forget about that bolo. Don't talk about different things. It's an akumika. But God great, he able to fight the joy, he will fight it. Then I will turn and will go inside. Tell God, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to the next person. Good evening and welcome.
Good morning. I mean, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, good evening. We are good here.
Yeah, thank you. So let me say good evening to Comrade Kelly.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me say thank you for hosting me. I'm Comrade Lawrence Spencer. I'm in Johnsonville. I mean, so the Comrade chair online everything rightly, and that's why the AMC continue to remain the face of the opposition. And I agree with Comrade Poga, except that for us, it's not about we are. Where Liberia is now, it's not about President we are.
Yeah.
I think we all should rally around our best. Somebody now that can solve our problem. We should pass the stage of who can win election and start to talk about who can govern, who can deliver for the people of Liberia. Okay, because the argument, there's the same argument people made in the past. Oh yeah, only Baga can win the election and blah blah blah. So Kumi, other people go land up behind Baga. So you see how Baga delivering now. Baga has failed the country in all dimensions. Today we're discussing almost, $40 million worth of jobs because the 19 million is the street value you're talking about. So you are talking about the real value of that job. You're talking something in the middle of $40+ million worth of jobs that we're discussing. So Baga have not solved the practical issues for which the Liberian people voted him. So it was just about the glamoring and who can win election and all of that. So the country should wrap beyond that phase. So in that vein, I want to say Comrade Poga is right. Mr. Kumis remain a face of Liberia, politically, economically, and if we want a genuine transformation that will serve all Liberians regardless of which party you belong to, which tribe you belong to. Like Mr. Kumi always say, we don't choose the tribe we are born to. We don't choose the kind of language we speak and all of that. So we need somebody that will transform this country genuinely and to fight jobs, to address the border issue, to employ Liberians, to bring companies that will employ Liberians. Mr. Kumi is the man. We have to wake up to reality and start deceiving ourselves. Okay. We are opposition brothers. For us, we're not coming in the public domain and start denigrating other opposition leaders like your man Eugene Nambe was trying to carry on showmanship and glamorizing and trying to use all kind of sarcasm on Mr. Kumi. We're not diving into this kind of cheap propaganda. We are all opposition brothers who we will fit on one thing, but the fact of the matter is we will be frank to the conversation as to who can take the country onto the right path. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So Mr. Michael Padmo, because of time.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Producer. Yeah, because of time, we have to hold off there. Thank you all who called. And for those of you who are not able to get through, we will be back here again next week with a more riveting conversation. So please follow us. Please tune in, and hopefully we'll get you on at that time. Thank you so much. But let's see if we can go to our closing here. I want to be able to give you enough time, Aliu, so you can. We've touched on a lot of things. We've touched on the last elections coming out of that. We touched on unemployment with the youth. We touched on education, healthcare. We touched on the broad range of the economy. We touched on the concessions. We touched on freedom of speech in the country and the clampdown of speech, whether it was the EU representative or Yeke Koluba or anybody else that this government seems, or even the pastor, the Nigerian pastor that was sitting away in Lagos talking. We've talked about the collaboration and looking forward to 2029. We've addressed some issues concerning the comment made by Len Nugent Nangme. And I think a lot of some of our listeners that call, some of our CDC brothers that call, I don't think they got it. I think they thought maybe ANC was the aggressor here, when ANC was only replying to what Len Nugent Nangme has said. And we also talked about, why the Alternative National Congress is best suited for this time. As we close, and as you touch on a few of these, please, if you could also what do you want to tell the youth of Liberia? Why the Alternative National Congress and Exxon Kumi is the right choice for them, if you're speaking to them. So I'll give you the time. Go ahead, and we'll sit here and listen.
Thank you, Mr. Patmo. You see, it's important that we clarify some things, especially those raised by some callers. My CDC brothers, you are saying we're giving this advice to you, to both sides. I think it's a good advice to both sides. Like I said, we acknowledge the fact that no one party can win election. No matter how you think about you have this number, you still need people to win election. ANC needs people to win election. CDC obviously need people to win election, right? Now, but what the ANC is now going to do, mind you, I told you we are collaborating but gather against our experiences in the CPP. What we experienced in the CPP was that United Party was using Henry Costa, they were using Prophet T to attack the ANC. Then when the ANC say, but why your people attacking or United Party will say, Henry Costa and United Party mail, we can't sanction the things you will say. So CDC now, they are using other people like Eugene Nangbe, who is not an official of the CDC. So when we respond, they will say, but Eugene Nangbe now CDC chairman, now CDC's SG, but he's acting on behalf of the CDC. When Eugene Nangbe comes and becomes sarcastic about Mr. Cummings, he speaks in a way that degenerate our political leader. Then you say ANC people shouldn't respond with attacking the CDC. Look, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But the fact that we are thinking about collaborating with opposition brothers, we think you should respect us while we're in this collaboration. When you start to make derogatory statements like the government to us, then we'll respond in self-defense. You will not come here and usually Nangwe go on show, he speaks anyhow to the ANC and the political leader. Then when we talk, say, oh, ANC responding, ANC talking to CDC. No, ANC is not attacking CDC. ANC is making CDC to understand that in this opposition collaboration unity, you must respect everybody because everybody comes with something. Mr. Cummings comes with the capacity to deliver what the Liberian people want. And that's something that the CDC needs. CDC comes with the grassroots support base. It is something that the ANC needs. So we understand our strengths and weaknesses. But if you get on radio and start to emphasize my weaknesses in a way that will make me appear small, then we'll respond with equal force and magnitude. That is what we are doing. Not that we are against the CDC or attacking CDC. When you attack us, we respond because we are under the moral obligation to protect the image of our party and our political leader. So don't come here and start to play victim. No, you attack us, we respond. Thank you. Now, on the question of where do we go from here?
Yes.
This brings us to the young people of the country. The youth policy report that was recently passed and drafted by the Liberian, the FLA, Federation of Liberian Youth, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, together with all of the different civil society actors and youthful institutions. In that report, it stipulated that we are pretty close to 75% youthful population in the country. Meaning most of the people in the country are young people. So predominantly because of our youthfulness, we are at the disadvantage of the material condition in the country. How many young people can say today, I'm living my dream? How many young people? How many young people can say, I'm comfortable? Tomorrow morning, I can wake up without thinking about where I will start my day, where I will get fuel face from. It is rare. In Liberia today, when you start your day, that achievement, in the morning, somebody asks you, Mama, you're not bossy? And you say, yeah, you happy because you're not eat. The other men are eat. So if the minimum achievement in the country is to find food in the morning, then that is a country in reverse. You need a leader who will be thinking ahead. Other countries, young people, having accounts within the 75% youthful population. How many of us get account at different banks? When I get account, when I even know what to call account and bank statement, it's not there. These are basic minimum things across different countries. Young people are making strive. Young people are establishing businesses. Yeah, with 35-year-olds still with our mind party. And we think that is normal. You think that is normal? It is abnormal. We are so used to abnormal conditions that we think it is the right way now of life. We must find alternative people who have seen it all. It hurts me when our leaders go out and see system functional, see institution working. They admire those things when they go out. When they come back, they return to that default setting of backwardness. It is as if to say when people go out and they see all the good things, when they come out to the country, like we are incapable of getting these good systems. We don't have system in the country. Systems. No government institution can tell you say they are aware of how many graduates university and vocational institution can put out every year. So estimation. So you don't even able to craft policy, because if you know how many people unemployed, you are capable of crafting policy to address that need. You don't have it. How many pregnant women across the country that give birth annually every year on safe conditions? There are some places where people still use torchlight and candle on humiliating conditions. People are giving birth. Today, if you went to JFK, people are being held hostage. They are being imprisoned falsely because they don't have 25,000 Liberian dollars to pay their maternity bill. I'll tell you a story before I close. There was a guy who later gave birth to JFK. The man went there to see a woman because he don't have the money. So he took the ticket, the visiting ticket at the security booth. He went there, he took the visiting ticket and gave it to the woman to come outside with the baby and pretend that she was the visitor. Because he showed the ticket, mean you are the visitor who entered. So she gave the ticket to the security guard to the booth. Reluctantly, the security guard asked her, but who you came to visit? That's where the problem started. That her name on the book as the patient. Who you going to visit now for the man to march the Sunday and clear you that the visitor is going? She brought the man attention to it. But you don't know who you're going to visit. Stay on our side. Investigation started. The husband who gave her the ticket gave it. Look at that kind of shameful conditions. Then you think all is well. And you know, the enemy of every society are the happiest slaves in the midst of suffering majority. Those who enjoying peanuts today, who getting salary, who they can get scratch card to call on the show and talk about opposition leader, they think everything is okay. And the rest of the other people are just being pessimistic. They are just being opposition. No, conditions in the country are tough. Take your microphone, go and hear people's stories. Look at the expression on Liberians' faces, and will tell you that something needs to be done, and that needs to be done urgently. We need leadership in this country, and that is the leadership Mr. Kumi is offering himself to provide for the country. And young people are at the receiving end of that leadership because it's going to benefit us most than any other person or demographic in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eliu. Thank you so much for joining us today. Time is far spent. Thank you, Tuzon, for producing this. To our listening audience out there, you've been listening to LIB TV Monday edition, and I've been your host, Mr. Michael Padmore. I want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate you giving your time. Join us again throughout the week. LIB Future TV is on from Monday through Friday with some riveting shows for you every day, the same time, 7 p.m. Liberian time. And we'll have another show for you tomorrow as well. Until we see you again next week, thank you. Have a safe evening. Good night.
Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.